In today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the misconceptions about entrepreneurship. But before we get into that, tell me below, what are some of the things that you think entrepreneurship is? Are you an entrepreneur yourself? Without further ado, let's get right to it. Before I list some of the misconceptions about entrepreneurship, who exactly is an entrepreneur? An entrepreneur is a person who sets up a business or businesses, taking on the financial risks in hope to achieve profit. An employee is obviously different from an entrepreneur in the sense that an employee doesn't take on any financial risk because the company he or she works for has already done all of that bit. So all they have to do is go to work, do a proper job, and get paid by the end of the month. Whereas an entrepreneur would raise capital, would get a loan from the bank, would sign different deals, and all of these risks that he or she is taking on is falling on him or herself because they are not working under a company and under any individual. In the latter video, I will discuss on how to become an entrepreneur. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe. But there's one thing that stands out amongst all entrepreneurs and all business owners, and it's reading books. Financial books, self-development books, personal development, whatever the case may be. But reading books to gain more knowledge. And obviously, this month I'm reading a book. I try to read at least 2 books every single month. So I'm reading a book right now. I'll tell you guys the name at the end of the video. So make sure you stick to the end to find that out. The book was written by Robert Kiyosaki, just to reveal a bit on that. So the first misconception on my list of entrepreneurship is everyone needs to be an entrepreneur. In my opinion, this is the biggest misconception ever. Like, we've gotten to a day and an age where everyone is just talking about how we need to become entrepreneurs. People are dropping out of school because they don't think it's important. They feel that entrepreneurship is the only way to go. But this is a misconception because there are so many other ways to make money. Yes, you can be in a corporate job, you can work in 9 to 5 and still make money. I think the problem with all of this is we've forgotten why we grind. We've forgotten the reason of waking up trying to think of ideas to make more money. And the reason is just to live a happy and healthier life. It's as simple as that. So if you're working a 9 to 5, let's say as a doctor, and that is something that you love to do, or if you haven't gotten there yet, that is something that you think you would love to do, then bro, go for it. Like, if you don't think you'd have time for entrepreneurship, you don't have to. It's not compulsory. You don't need to be an entrepreneur. The goal is just to live a happy and healthy life. And if working a 9 to 5 helps you to do that, then go fully for that. Another misconception of entrepreneurship is not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Now, on the last point, I said not everyone needs to be an entrepreneur, but every single person has the ability and tendency to become an entrepreneur. Why? Because it doesn't have anything to do with what you studied in school. It's basically your mindset. See, not everyone has the ability to become a doctor, not everyone has the ability to become a lawyer, and all these corporate jobs because everyone's built different. But for entrepreneurship, you can literally train your mind to start to see yourself as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, and gain the skills that are required to become that entrepreneur. Like I said, schools don't teach you how to do this, so you don't have to have problem with, oh, I'm not good at school and all these things. Every single person can be, as long as your mindset is in the right place. Like I said, I'll make a detailed video about how to become an entrepreneur. I'll probably post it like next week or something, so stay tuned for that. For number 3 on my list, I have it's the only way to make proper income. This is one of the biggest lies and misconceptions in entrepreneurship because sometimes it can actually be the opposite. You can potentially lose all of your income because, like I mentioned earlier, you take on all the financial risk as an entrepreneur. But if you're working a 9 to 5, then you have the company taking on the risks for you. So you don't have to worry about the company's taxes. You don't have to worry about paying back the mortgage for wherever it is you're working. All you have to do is go to your workplace, do your job, get it done, and get paid by the end of the month. It's as simple as that. Now, don't get me wrong, there's so many risks to being, you know, an employee, but do not have the mindset that if you become an entrepreneur, everything is rosy and you start to make money right away. It doesn't work like that. Another misconception about entrepreneurship is you will have unlimited freedom. And if you have this idea in your mind, I might not blame you. Social media does so much to promote this nonsense that once you become an entrepreneur, you can do whatever it is that you want to do. You can wake up whatever time. I mean, we say that We want to work so hard that so we can do whatever we want to do whenever we want to do it. Life doesn't work that way. It takes a certain level of dedication and sacrifice of your time to get to that level. Don't get me wrong, there are people that do whatever it is they want whenever they want because they've gotten to that stage. But you do not wake up, become an entrepreneur. Oh, okay, you don't have to wake up by 5 a.m. to go to your job. You don't have to do that. But there are so many hours and sacrifices that go into becoming an entrepreneur. I mean, I've tasted this firsthand. I'm a forex trader, and I thought that as I got into this, all I needed was a few months of learning how to trade, and I would start to make bank and do whatever it is I wanted. But I'm currently 2 years and a few months into trading at the time of making this video, and it wasn't up until recently I started seeing actual profit. From March 2021 to I think May 2022, I was off social media. WhatsApp deleted, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, deleted basically because I was trying to focus on myself. I was trying to master my craft. And if I'm to be honest, this is the life of an entrepreneur. It doesn't get any easier than this. It's basically difficult. You do not have all the free time in the world to do what you need to do. If you're serious about entrepreneurship and you want to get to the level of financial freedom, relatively quick, then you have to put in the hours. You have to put in long hours of work. Truth is sometimes it can be more difficult than a 9 to 5. That's what nobody tells you. Everyone is telling you to start a business. No one tells you that that business could fail. I have started businesses and they have crumbled, like crashed. I'll probably make a video on that, because entrepreneurship is not easy. You don't get it in your first go. I mean, if you do, then bless up. But the idea of entrepreneurship and unlimited freedom do not work together, at least not at the early stages. So for number 5 on the list, we have it's an easy way to get rich. Now, obviously, from the explanation of having unlimited freedom through entrepreneurship, you would have realized, hopefully, that entrepreneurship is not an easy way to get rich. Actually, a 9 to 5 is an easier way to get rich. Don't get me wrong, I said it's an easier way. I didn't say it's an easy way. It's an easier way because the plan would be you would go to school for 4 years or 5 years and you probably get good grades, hopefully, then go do a postgraduate degree, whatever the case may be. After you're done with that, bagged all the degrees, then you would go look for a job. Hopefully, you get a job, you start to work hard, and you keep working hard. Then, obviously, with time, you would ask for a raise. Hopefully, you've been given that raise and it just gets better. And obviously, if you're good at what you do, then you could go look for a better job at somewhere else. Now, do not get me wrong. In countries like this, in Nigeria, that's a very stupid plan. All right. But even a plan like that is clearer than any plan you would have in entrepreneurship. Ask anyone that started a business. The plan that they had at the start is not the same plan that they followed because things changed. When I started trading forex in 2020, I thought I'd spend a few months trading. Then after a while, I'd be making bucks, I'd be making bank. But that's not the case. I've been trading for 2 years and a few months, and I still haven't made my first $1,000 from trading because such is entrepreneurship. It's not an easy way of making money. It's the hardest way of making easy money. Let's put it like that. Entrepreneurship, it's a very hard way, but if you can stay dedicated, then you can potentially make money. Now, the final misconception, and in my opinion, the biggest. I hope I didn't say biggest for any of the others, but I think this would be the biggest. Entrepreneurship is better than employment. Oof. This doesn't make any sense. Like every explanation I have listed, hopefully should make you see that firstly, a 9 to 5 is not such a bad thing. And two, you can make more money. You can potentially, I should say, make more money from a 9 to 5 than you would entrepreneurship. There are so many pros and cons to both of them. Do not get me wrong. But to say flat that entrepreneurship is better than employment would be coming from a very biased point of view and a very closed minded point of view. Because yes, you can make a ton of money from entrepreneurship. I mean, the sky is your limit. You can keep making money and continue making more money because you're working for yourself. As opposed to paid employment where you're working for someone, obviously the salary will be capped at somewhere. But even with that said, there's so many things that go into entrepreneurship that a lot of people might not be able to stand. And, it might not just be cut off for them because they rather do something else than go through all the struggles and pain and the process of becoming an entrepreneur, which is totally fine. But these are some of the misconceptions about entrepreneurship. Obviously, there are so many others. You can list them in the comment section. But I hope in some way this video has changed your mindset as to how difficult entrepreneurship can be. Now, don't get me wrong, this video is not to discourage you to become an entrepreneur, because I'm personally an entrepreneur and this is what I love to do. I want to do it for as long as I, can do it for. But I'd rather have you prepare your mind for what entrepreneurship truly is than get into it and just have your hopes, crumble down. But if you ask me, I would choose entrepreneurship every day, every time, because I mean, this is personally what I love to do. It's my passion. I found my niche, and hopefully, I will find more ways I can make more money from entrepreneurship. But like I said, it's what I love to do, so I'm gonna stick with it. So for the book that I am currently reading, it's like I mentioned by Robert Kiyosaki, and it's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is a very, very famous book. At some point, it was the world's bestseller, if I'm not mistaken. It's a great book. I have read the sequel to that, which is Cashflow Quadrant, and it's odd. Like, why would I read the sequel before the first one? It's because I found the Cashflow Quadrant before. But while I was reading that, Robert he kept on making references to the old book. So I got the old book, and that's what I'm currently reading. I will probably do a book summary about that, just to tell you guys about the book, if you want to read it, and all these kind of things. So as soon as I'm done with reading the book, hopefully 2 weeks from making this video, I will make a book summary. I have so many goals to become this entrepreneur that I talk about, so many plans, so many things that I want to get into. I mentioned in my first video that I'm on a journey to financial freedom. But if you want to hear some of these goals out or know some of the things that I have planned, you can check out my goals for 2022. And also, if you want to learn how to set goals in 2022, or at least some of the ways that I set my goals and I think could potentially help you, you could check that out as well. I'll leave all of these in the description. With that said, see you guys in the next video. Take care.